So many people consider him a top 100 player of the 1970s in the NHL. I tend to agree. I think that's a sign of respect and is well deserved. We're going to talk about a player that meant a lot to a lot of franchises. He basically helped Vancouver in their cup run in the early 80s, played a big part in many major franchises, expansion and otherwise, and the Chicago BlackHawks. So we're going to talk about the legend of Ivan Boldirev. Now, Ivan Boldirev, born August 15th, 1949 in Zrenjanin, Yugoslavia. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. My Serbian is very rusty. He's one of the few Serbian Canadians to be recognized for their sports endeavors on the ice. There's been Serbian Canadians that have been successful in their sports, but why Ivan stands out is because that he's also considered a prototype of the stick handling style we see in 2020 with Connor McDavid and the other key players. He was probably one of the best stick handlers that we ever saw, not because of puck possession, but because of puck movement. He knew how to stick handle as an offensive threat. And when he played Chicago, boys, the power play and the fans at the old Chicago rink really got excited when he saw him dipsy doodle with his style. Now, like I said, Zrenjanin, Yugoslavia, his family immigrated to Canada when he was 2. Now, he grew up in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, but was known as a shy child. Now, Boldirev felt his shyness probably goes back when I first came over to Canada and didn't speak any English. My first grade teacher sent a note home telling my parents that we should speak English at home, but he didn't speak it, so they couldn't even read the note. Now, Boldirev started playing junior hockey at a young age and eventually found himself in the very prestigious Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds of the Northern Ontario Junior Hockey League, but he later graduated to the Oshawa Generals of the OHA in 67-68. Now, those totals with Oshawa were very impressive. He had 59 points in 54 games, and he was good enough to get recognition by the Bruins. He picked him 11th overall in the 69 draft, and they sent him to the Farm Club in Oklahoma City, which was developing a lot of young players at the time. Now, this is where the confusion comes in, ladies and gentlemen. Boldirev was eventually called up to the Bruins as a spare part or a substitute for the NHL playoffs. Now, we didn't play a game for Boston, but Boston won the title that year. Now, because they were very appreciative to Ivan being there as a what do you call a practice body or an injury body, he got his name engraved on a Stanley Cup before he dressed his first NHL game. Now, he was the only forward or defenseman ever to do so. Now, after the 70 season, the NHL tightened its policies so that players must have participated in a playoff game to have their names engraved on a Stanley Cup. You couldn't sit on the bench like the famous player with Montreal in 1975, Hubiak, who didn't play in the game. Now, Boldirev was sent back to Oklahoma City, the affiliate, in 71. Now, although he received his first NHL action with a 2-game call-up to the Bruins, he stayed with Oklahoma City most of the campaign and had 19 goals and 52 assists and 71 points. Now, 71-72, because Boston was one of the deepest squads in the league, it was difficult for young players to crack their roster. Now, Boldirev was in a group of players, including Reg Leach and Rick McLeish, each of whom would star for the Flyers later in the decade, who were good enough to play for many NHL squads, but are instead stuck in Boston's system and would need a trade to get the opportunity he needed. Now, Boldirev started the 72 season as a depth player in Boston, but he received his big break partway into the season when he was dealt to the California Golden Seals. Now, on the talent star of Seals, Boldirev excelled and blossomed in a great NHL player. His first season with California, he had 16 goals and 23 assists for 39 points. But his best campaign was in 74, where he broke the 25-goal mark, and he added 31 assists for 56 points. Now, in 74, the Seals dealt Boldirev to his marquee team, the BlackHawks, where he got the majority of his recognition for his skills, and this was the most productive phase of his career. He firmly established himself as one of the team's top players because Stan Mikita was still there as well, posting 24 goals and 67 points in 75. Now he had more than 60 points in each of his 5 seasons in Chicago, and by the late 70s had replaced Stan Mikita as the team's top offensive player. Now he led the team in goals, assists, and points in 77 and 78, and made the 1978 All-Star team. Now Boldirev was leading the BlackHawks in scoring again in 79 when he was dealt to the Flames in a monster deal that involved 9 players. Now he contributed 14 points in 13 games after joining the Flames, but his stay in Atlanta would last less than a year before he was dealt to the Canucks, where obviously he led the team to the finals. Now Darcy Rota was moved along with Boldirev in both trades, like the Atlanta trade and Vancouver, and the two would be teammates and frequently line mates for nearly a decade with 3 different organizations. Now, after joining the Canucks, Boldirev went on a goal-scoring binge to close out the 1980 season with 16 goals in 27 games. Now, he continued to be a consistent, productive performer, and like I said, his stick handling was unparalleled. Like I said, smooth on ice like butter. Now, he was a stand-up performer in Vancouver's run to the 1982 Stanley Cup Finals, as he was part of the squad that lost to the Islanders in 4 straight, but in the playoffs he had 33 goals in the regular season, 8 goals and 3 assists in the playoffs. So a great campaign. Now Boldirev's production, however, dropped off in the 83 season, and he registered just 5 goals and 25 points in his first 39 games. Now, thinking Boldirev, now he's mid-30s, was in decline, the Canucks sent him to Detroit for journeyman forward Mark Curtin. Now, Boldirev proceeded to undergo a resurgence in Detroit, scoring 13 goals and 33 points in just 33 games with the Wings. In 84, he had his most productive season of his career, matching his career high of 35 goals and setting a career high of 83 points. Now, he combined with rookie Steve Yzerman to form an excellent 1-2 punch down the middle and helped Detroit back to the playoffs for the first time since 1978. So you see his veteran presence led Detroit to what he called a rebirth, or the Yzerman years, and he played a big part of that. Now, 85, Boldirev played his 1,000th NHL game and notched his 500 assists, but his production waned as he failed to notch 50 points for the first time since 73. He retired at the end of the season with career totals of 361 goals, 505 assists for 866 points and 1,052 games. Now, in his retirement years, he often does work with the Chicago alumni, which is very active in charitable and outreach efforts across the United States. Now, and what should be recognized too as well, in the OHL that he was in, especially the Oshawa Generals, he was part of probably one of the most prominent eras of the old OHA, like the late 60s. And the Bruins thought highly of him because just like the Montreal Canadiens, they had too many players in the pike. So it's better to show respect for the players. If they're not going to make the squad, to trade them to somebody you have a chance to play. But when you score in the 20-30 range for as many teams as he did, California, Atlanta, Vancouver, Detroit, that's pretty impressive. And playoff totals, we don't forget those. 48 games, 13 goals, 20 assists for 33 points, and of course OHL second All-Star team in 69. So Ivan Boldirev, like I said, probably one of the best Serbian-Canadian athletes of all time. He basically has been a role model to the Serbian community across Canada, across the world. And Ivan Boldirev, you know what, that sounds like a great Russian hockey name, doesn't it? But he ranks, and I wonder too, not to sound bizarre here, if he could have qualified for Team Canada or played for Team Canada. He may have played for Team Canada, I'm not sure, I can't remember. I'll have to do more research on that. So, Ivan Boldirev, like I said, everybody needs an Ivan Boldirev on their team. Just like we talk about Yvan Lambert, that 30-35 goal a season guy, not going to ruffle feathers, is going to be good on the bench, easy to coach. And like I said, Boldirev knew where the net was, and usually the net was bulging when he was finished with it, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, hope this finds you well. Have a good day. Bye.